All right, guys, if you haven't already heard, the Falcon made its personal best pass this weekend, and it actually did it on less boost than was required to make the previous personal best. So I'm not going to tell you how fast it went. That's up to Tommy, but he texted us and was super stoked, and man, we're stoked for him. Like it's awesome that it's just some small things added up to something that was awesome, right? It did power wheelie. Had to do a couple things to knock the power wheelie out of it, but he said it was the smoothest and the easiest of the cars ever drove. Just it was awesome to hear that kind of feedback. And if you guys haven't, please go back and watch the video of Brad kind of setting up the car and doing all that. There's so much that you can learn. And if you've watched the video, there really wasn't that much stuff that Brad changed. We found a crack. That was pretty important. We needed to fix that. But other than that, it was just some loose bolts. We changed the installed height of the shock, put a different spring on it, and then he just went over the front end alignment. Really didn't get to do a deep dive on that, but just fix some stuff. And all those things are things that you can do in your garage. You don't need a specialty shop to take it to. You don't need to have, you don't need to bring it here. That's something that you can totally watch that video and apply that knowledge to your car. And that's our heart. That's what we try to do over and over and over again, is give you guys knowledge to apply to your race car that you can do at your house, that we can basically hold your hand and take you on a journey, the race car journey, and get you to where you need to be. And so many times, man, people feel like, and I've read through the comments of like, dude, just back half that thing, be done with it. Back half it, put a big block in it, do all this stuff. Well, the reality is where Tommy is on his racing journey, that is the car that he needs. It's the perfect car. An LS is super reliable, stock suspension Mustang base. I know it's not a Mustang, but it's a stock suspension Mustang basically with an 8.8 in it. You can go so far with that combination, and it's relatively cheap to run. Dude, Charlie, not cheap to run. It needs rods every so often. It needs this, it needs that. It goes through stuff. When Brad and I had our little Turbo LS Mustang, dude, we made money with that car because we would do well on the weekend, and that car would sit in the trailer until the next time that we had to go out, and then we would just hook our truck up to it, take it to the racetrack again, and put gas in it, put ice in it, and dude, it was awesome. It would cost very little to operate. And I see that so many times with people when they have trouble with their race car, they want to just cut the whole thing up, or they start building a car that really is beyond where they need to race at. That's a common question that, like, when Dave or I take a phone call here, we ask people what's their goals, what's their power plant, where do you want to race? Unfortunately, like, we sell 4-link products, but a lot of times when you 4-link a car, it puts you in a class that maybe you're not quite ready for. You would be better off to leave your car stock suspension and figure out how to make it work and do this and do that. And that's all really important questions. But kind of where I want to land this Motivational Monday is just really the thought process, right? So like when we were looking at Tommy's car, Tommy had questions. Some of you guys were really hard on him about those questions, which I don't really understand. Like, he's trying to learn, and the only way to learn is to ask questions and have feedback. And he has a certain pattern in which he's learned the race car. So for him, what's made him successful up to this point is a certain pattern of thoughts. This does this, then the next thing is this, and then the next thing is this. And that is how his brain works. So if you go back and you watch that video and you watch him and listen to him ask questions, Brad is basically interrupting the pattern of the way that Tommy thinks about the race car. Tommy produces his pattern, and then Brad's like, nah, man, let me teach you something here. Let me show you something. And it's because we are a part of so many race cars. We have stuff ourselves. We have a ton of customers out there, and we see more patterns in race cars than anybody. Not anybody, but we see a lot. So it made me think on the personal side of this, the patterns and the way that we think in life. And typically people get stuck in a pattern, right? Like they think about something a certain way, and then it's just over and over and over again. They relive the same pattern, and then a lot of times they kind of expect different results. Like it's like leaving. You go up for Q1 and the car spins, and then you come back and Q2 is like an hour later. So, the sun's basically in the same spot, the track's basically the same temperature, and they haven't really changed anything, and you don't change anything on the car and you expect it to go down. Like, sometimes that's how people do life. Like, they don't change anything and then they expect a different result. Or they want to change stuff so much that it's like back halving yourself, right? Like they want to redo every way that they think about stuff. They want to go on a completely new trajectory. And man, that is completely and utterly overwhelming. I don't know if you've ever tried to back half your car or you've tried to build a whole race car, but when you look at a race car in its entirety, that's an overwhelming thing, man, to get that done. So when I thought about this, and this is in Romans, and I love this little verse. It's Romans 12, and it says this: "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And us, like a race car, is no different. We have patterns. We have things that we do. And there is a pattern of this world. There is a pattern of how things happen. And for you, if you're trying to make positive changes in your life, you want a different outcome than what has always been. Maybe you see yourself going down the same road as your parents, or you see yourself going down the same road as your family in general, or people that you hung out with, and you can kind of see where that road leads. Well, the way to start forging a new way is to change the pattern, change the way that you think about things in your brain by transforming by the renewing of your mind. If you can change it in here first, then you can change it out here. But it has to start here. And sometimes it takes asking questions with somebody that's a little farther along than you, right? Sitting down with somebody that's where you want to be. And the most valuable thing in this world is relationships. Who you know will take you way farther than what you know every day of the week. And one of the things that I believe in my life, I'm not the most crazy successful person. I'm not any of these things. But what I believe has helped me the most is being able to sit down with people that are really smart, that have this great foundation, that they're not easily wavered. They know what they want. They know where they're going, and they really know how they're going to get there. And those conversations have transformed the way that I think. And one of the reasons that I do Motivational Monday is we want that for you. We want to help you transform your mind and to think a little bit differently, to think a little bit more positively, to believe that you're important, that you were made with a purpose, that God has a plan for your life, that there's life out there for you. And in the same way, we do that with race cars. We want as many people as possible to hear what we have to say, because we believe that we can help you. We believe that we can help you get to wherever you want to go, that dream that you have in your heart to do whatever on the racetrack. We hope that we can partner with you by not necessarily always seeing you, but being able to be a voice in a video and give you a great idea of how to look at something a little bit different, or give you the right tools that you can totally replicate without us holding your hand. That's the idea. So today, for this Motivational Monday, what I want you to think about is the small changes in here that can result in big changes out there. That's what happened with Tommy's race car. It was small changes, things that a lot of people may have even thought that's not that big deal. That shock is pretty close to where it needs to be. This is pretty close. That's just a small crack. Whatever. Those things, those theories, not that big a deal. But when you changed all those small things and then you put it in the hands of someone that was capable, that had already been really close, right? Tommy knows what he's doing. He does. And you gave him just a little bit of an extra way to think about something and a little bit better of a platform. What happens? Goes out and runs his personal best by small changes. So for your life, I think when you talk about the big changes, it's overwhelming, and it gets to be so overwhelming that you feel like you can't even move. You feel like the mountaintop is way too high. But if we can focus on small summits, you'll be at the top before you know it. So we love you. I hope you get something out of this. Thank you so much for watching tonight's men's group. So I'm looking forward to that. If you're ever in the area, it's typically the first Monday of every month. You're more than welcome to come by and hang out with us. It's 6:30, first Monday of every month. We do provide pizza. That's sweet. So if you're in the area, or maybe you want to make a trek, man, we've had so many people that have flown here that come from really far away just to come and hang out with us that first Monday of the month. And man, what we've seen from that and the stories are just unreal, man. It's so motivating for us to keep doing it this way. It may not make sense to everybody, but sometimes I do feel crazy, if I'm honest. But when I get to sit in that room and see the people that are there and hear the stories, it's worth it. The craziness that I feel is worth it. And we're going to keep doing it that way, even if it doesn't make sense to most people. And that is being transformed from the pattern of this world, right? That's a way different pattern, but it works for us. So we love you. Hope to see you here. And if not, keep watching. And I pray that you get something from it. We'll see you on the next one.